All righty. I have straight up 3:30, so I'd like to go ahead and get started so that we honor those of you that were here on time, and we may have people that join us later, and that's okay. So, welcome to the February version of Firmly Rooted in Well-Being, and today we're going to be talking about financial health. And so as we start this, we're moving into the roots of our, did that change? It did. Okay, we're moving into the roots of our tree. And one of the things that you need to be able to do is feel solid in your finances so that you feel safe and well-rooted, so that you can move forward and do what you need to do. But let's take a little review of what we did last time. So one of the things we did was we rated ourselves on the rings of resilience. Remember, we looked at all the different areas of life and you rated yourself. And did anybody find any surprises in that? No? Okay. And then we wrote a sympathy card to ourselves. And the whole purpose of that was to help you let go of stuff that's weighing you down but no longer serves you, so that you can free yourself to start moving forward, right? We completed the Be, Do, Have activity. And I know people were still working on that. So did you take some more time with that over the month? Did you learn anything about yourself that you didn't realize? Did you find something exciting and new? It's not the Love Boat, but okay. And then we talked about our making short, easy goals, right? And so we talked about the PACT goals. And so in your packet today, we're going to start with that and just have a reminder that PACT stands for purposeful. So we want our goals, we want to connect our goals with a deeper meaning or mission, right? We want our goals to be actionable. We want it to be something that you can actually take action on, but we also want it to be aligned with our values and how we go about life, right? We want it to be a goal that's consistent and continuous. So it's something that you can do consistently. You know, I heard some of you talking about, well, I tried, but I didn't get, okay, but you noticed when you didn't do it too, didn't you? So that's important information too. It's like, don't beat yourself up. It's just information. It doesn't care one way or the other. Don't beat yourself up, but look at, okay, were there certain days that you didn't do what you wanted to do? Maybe there's something in that day that's different for some reason. Or maybe there's a string of days last week, but then you realize, oh my gosh, I hit the ground running every single day that week. No wonder. Okay. And then we wanted to be trackable. So how many people used their tracker? I know a few people did, yeah. Okay, and what did you learn? Okay, I'm not perfect. Right. I'm not either. And that's the thing is, we got to let go of perfection, because perfection doesn't really serve us because it doesn't really exist. It only exists in here, right? And so we did our PACT goals.
I learned something else. If you track it, it reminds you every day that you need to do it.
Correct. If you track it, it reminds you every day that you need to do it. Exactly. So how do you think you did overall? How'd you do? Yeah. I know, but guess what? Perfect doesn't exist. Like if, you know, the old 80-20 rule, if 20% of the stuff gets done about 80% of the time. Like, you know, don't worry, we're not going to work on perfection, but if you can do it more than you don't do it, then that's a win. You know, as we're starting out, maybe what it is you just do it at all. You know, maybe 3 times a week is a great place to start, and then we go to 4 times a week, and then we go to 5 times a week. But that's for you. And the thing of it is I think when we write goals, we tend to write goals that we think we should do instead of what we really want to do. And I think, it's like, they say I should drink water, but you know what I mean. Maybe you do. Maybe you don't need as much water as they say you need. That's a thought too. The whole idea behind this is to explore what's going to be right for you. All right, so like I said, today we're going to talk about money. So we're going to do a few things today. We're going to, this is not high-level investment 101. When do I take Social Security? Did I screw it up when I took it too early? We're not going there because I hadn't figured that out either. What we want to do is we want to look at exploring your relationship with money. How do you interact with your money? Do you get emotional about your money? We're going to talk about all of that. We're going to see if we can't find some money to put towards your goals, and we'll look at some hiding places, okay? We're going to do an activity snack. We're always going to do an activity snack, and that's going to be a grounding exercise to dispel the anxiety that you might feel around your finances. So you might want to just do a little breathing exercise or a grounding exercise right before you get ready to do the bills, look at the big picture, whatever it is, right? Making decisions. And then we're going to learn steps on how to build a solid financial foundation. So this is more that day-to-day stuff, not the high-level stuff. And I just wanted to give you a disclaimer that the information provided in this lecture is for educational and informational purposes only and should not be considered as financial advice. I'm not a financial professional. The concepts discussed are intended to help you think critically about your day-to-day money management and financial wellness. But every financial situation is unique. And so before making any major financial decisions, you need to consult a qualified financial professional who can provide guidance tailored to you, okay? So if you go invest in the stock market this afternoon, that's not on me. All right, so what is your relationship with money? Because here's the thing is, we all want more money, okay. But if you don't learn how to manage your money, you won't do better when you have more. There's tons and tons and tons of stories about people that won big lotto prizes and 2-3 years later they're bankrupt because they don't manage your money well, okay? All right, so are you friends with your money? Or do your finances bully you? Who has a bully in their pocketbook? Yeah, me too, me too. So, let's talk about how to improve our friendship with money. One of the things that it's a great idea is to start a spending diary. And there's lots of ways to do that. And so again, your money, it doesn't have emotions. Have you ever seen George Washington or Ben Franklin cry when you pull it out of your pocket? They just love that they get to travel the world and they don't care about that stuff, right? So one of the things I want you to start doing, we had talked a little bit last month about doing a no-spend month. Did anybody try that? Yeah, no. A no-spend month. And we'll talk about that in a minute, okay? So I just threw it out there as an idea last time, and we're going to get into that more today. So one of the things we're going to do is we're going to start with a spending diary. No judgment. Yeah?
Can you tell me what that word is again? A spinning?
Spending.
Spending.
How you spend your money.
No, spinning.
No, spending diary. So that's what your little notebooks are about, but there are other ways to do it too. So I use an app. It's an Apple app, and I think there's one similar in Android, but I'm not sure, like on Google Play or whatever. But what it is it's just a little electronic spending diary. You can attribute fairly easily attribute symbols or a category to each spending category. So food, restaurants, entertainment, utility, whatever it is. And so, you may want to, like, once a week sit down and pair it up with this one you don't, like, link your bank information into, because I think a lot of people are scared of that, rightfully so. So if you really want to look at the bigger picture, you can pull in your utilities and your car payment and your insurance payments and all those things too. Or you can just look at your just your spending, what you allot to spend for whatever you want to spend it on, and see where you spend it. You know what I'm saying? You could use your notes app on your phone. Just open up your notes and just write down, oh, I spent $5 at Starbucks today, and I spent $10 at McDonald's today, and now I don't feel so good today. Right? You can use a pocket notebook. Yes?
What's the name of the app?
It's called Expense OK.
Expense OK.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. Or I've given you a little pocket notebook. You can put it in your pocket, put it in your purse, and write it down as you go. Okay? The more complete it is, the more information you'll have. I like the app because it'll give you, those beautiful pie charts of how much you're spending on everything. And sometimes I will put everything in, and sometimes I just want to study my discretionary spending. Okay? Just to find clues of where I'm spending that maybe I don't need to. And I think, like, I've often heard that if you stop by a Starbucks every day, so that's like $5 a pop, give or take, right? So if you don't buy a Starbucks every day, at the end of the year, if you put that money in an account, it would be somewhere over $2,000. Is that really going to make or break you in the long run? Probably not. Do you love Starbucks? I don't. They've done a great job of marketing, and I'll see Starbucks and I'll go, ooh, Starbucks. And I'm like, why do I care? I don't like their coffee. I really would rather make my coffee at home. So those are the things that we want to start to look for in our spending journal, so that we can start to find clues as to where some of that hidden money is. Okay? So, what we're going to do is we're going to take the things that you observe. So let's say you've done a month of your spending journal. Now what you're going to do is you're going to start to look at what that looks like. And I want you to consider, and we can talk about this a little bit if you'd like, but how does that spending make you feel? Because it's really all about you. The money doesn't care. Money doesn't care where it goes. You care where it goes. How does it make you feel? Does it make you feel good that you spent this money? Does it make you feel good that you've got X amount at the end after you paid all your have-tos? The rent, the car, the insurance, those are sort of things that stay the same every month, right? What may be changeable is your grocery bill or your out to eat bill. If you out to eat more, you're going to spend more, but your grocery bill could be less. Or how many of us have gone to the grocery store, got a bin load of vegetables, fresh vegetables, and then you end up eating out all week, and you throw the vegetables in the trash because they've gone bad now, right? Are you doing that? How does that make you feel? Right? If you feel bad about your spending, what can you do about it? What are some ideas that you might do about it?
Don't go to the store.
Don't go to the store. Or Amazon. Yeah, we're going to talk about some of those things too. Do you think you have the discipline to activate your plan? Why or why not? Do you not trust yourself because you haven't really been successful before? Could we make a smaller goal about one small piece to give you that feeling of success so we can go on to some of the bigger things? Okay? And then, am I impulsive with my spending? So you go to the grocery store for my list, but man, they've got a BOGO on donuts, and those look tasty. Or they've got a BOGO on fish. I really don't like fish all that much, but maybe I should eat fish, so maybe I'll get that BOGO. Or, Walmart. You can do groceries and every other thing at Walmart, but, there's a whole grocery store science or retail store science of how they place product in the store. And companies actually buy placement options. So they pay the grocery store extra to put their product at eye level. So a great example of that is when I was a little bitty girl, they put Jif peanut butter had a toy with a plastic dome just glued on top of the jar of peanut butter, right? And they put them on the bottom shelf. Why? So little kids would find it, yeah. And so I insisted on Jif peanut butter that time for the toy. And to this day, how many years later, I only want Jif peanut butter. So they know what they're doing. They know what they're doing to you if they can catch it. So are you an impulsive spender? Amazon's the worst for that. I have actually, I have wish lists, which don't go in your cart until you say, yes, put it in my cart. And I have wish lists. But I'm bad about, I need this one item, and I'll put 3 or 4 of them in my cart, different ones in my cart, intending to go back and make a choice. And I accidentally bought an air fryer that way. I forgot it was in my cart when I hit buy. And so the 3 cheap things I want, I'm like, why is it so much? And then this big thing in my, but I love it, so it's okay. That's impulsive spending. Are you not paying attention? Okay. So when we're looking at our discretionary spending, we need to look at the difference between wants and needs. Okay? So a want is essential for survival or well-being. But you're scrolling on Amazon or Walmart or, and there's this ad for these really fabulous vitamins that'll make you better than you were when you were 20. It's for my well-being. I need that, do you? Like one of the people that I study, her description of that was she already was taking vitamins, and then she found this whole slew of other vitamins that she thought she needed, and she really questioned herself, is this a want or is it a need? And it turned out it was a want, not a need, right? And I got that backwards on there. I got that backwards on there. So anyway, so a want is things that a need are things that you need for survival. I'll have to fix that. A need is things that you need for survival and well-being. But maybe you don't. So think about it. And then wants are obviously desired but not essential. But there's actually a gray area in there, okay? So maybe you've got something that's worn. Do you replace it or do you repair it? And so one of the examples I heard about was a woman that enjoyed Coach purses, which are not cheap. Right. And she had this particular one in this particular color, and she really, the handle broke, and she wanted another one. So she went to find it, and they didn't have that style, and they didn't have the color, and so she decided not to buy anything yet. And she went back and took a different look at it, and she was able to remember that it actually also came with a shoulder strap. And so she started using the shoulder strap, and then her purse was fine again. You know, there are people that, you know, you can pay to repair those, and that's way cheaper than a new Coach bag, right? So, you know, is it something that you can repair, or do you really need to replace it? You know, some people believe that if they buy the higher quality item, then eventually you may need to replace it, but not as frequently as if you buy a low quality item. You know, and people like to look at that with their wardrobes. You know, buy a few pieces that are classic pieces that are high quality and they'll last you forever. How many of you are still wearing the same clothes you wore 20 years ago? Some of us are, yeah. But you know what I mean? It's like like the whole thing with Coach bags, I'd rather have cheap bags that I can have more of them than one fancy Coach bag. The other thing is are you dealing with clutter? So we're going to talk about this when we talk about our habitat down the road. But let's think about how clutter can cost you money. If you've got stuff everywhere and you know you've got that thing, but you can't find it, and it's easier to go to the store and buy another one. I've done that just in the last month. I needed a hammer. I know I have a hammer. I've used it before. I know we didn't throw it out. I could not find it. And it was just like, for $5 on Walmart while I'm ordering my groceries, bring me a hammer. Because I needed it. Okay, so clutter can cost you money because you buy duplicate things. Clutter costs you money because you can't move around your house. You can't hire somebody to clean the house because there's too much stuff, maybe. There's lots of ways to look at that, and we'll dive into that when we get to the habitat section. Or you pay for a storage shed. Yes, thank you. Or you pay for a storage shed. Yeah, when my mother passed away, she was a bit of a hoarder, and so we had this massive house to clean out. But she had 3 sheds in the backyard, and she had a paid storage shed that was full of, honestly, nothing but trash. Just because she had bags of stuff, she wasn't sure what it was. I better not throw it out. And it was crazy. All right, so if you're not sure if it's a want or a need, you really, really want it, so you try to warp that into, I really need that, right? Try the wait rule. See if you can wait 48 hours. After 48 hours, if you really still want it, go for it. But how many times do we buy things, oh, this is the best thing since sliced bread, and you get it home, and it's too complicated, or you need ingredients to use this appliance in the kitchen, whatever it is. And all of a sudden, it's been sitting there in the box for 6 months, and you never used it. If you use the wait rule and you really consider how and when and where would I use it, maybe you're going to make better choices. Okay. So we've talked about impulse buying. What are your triggers that trigger you to want to buy stuff? And so we can look at 2 types of triggers. One is internal and one is external. So what do those external triggers look like? So external triggers can be those impulse buys. So the impulse racks at the store. Sales. Right? Oh, but I could get 2 of these because they're on sale. Or I get more stuff because they're on BOGO. Or, you know, there's, you've probably heard the ads for a system called Rakuten. And basically, you know, they say that they give you money back if you, well, I tried it for a short period of time. One of the things that app does is it will tell you that you're driving by a store and there's a sale on something. You're driving by Trader Joe's and here's these 3 things that are on sale today. You're driving by Target, you're driving by Publix, Who needs somebody in your ear going, oh, wait, stop and buy something? Like, buying too much stuff is hard as it is, right? So, you know, and that's one of the things you'll see on the internet is that's a way to make money, but you got to work for it. You really do. And I don't need to be distracted by, you know, one of the things I've noticed that's an external source of pushing to buy things is a lot of things. I do a lot of stuff on the internet, and a lot of the things on the internet are, they want your email, but they also want your phone number. And so now they want to text you every time they think they have a good deal. Drives me crazy. Like, I have too much going on in my life. I don't need you going ping, right? Peer pressure. Have we outgrown peer pressure? No, we haven't. No, we haven't. You know, everybody's got to have their Yeti, right? Mine is actually the Walmart version. I got this for $8, and a Yeti's like, what, 45? Yeah. And I actually saw somebody that did a comparison, so they filled both of them up with ice, a Yeti and the Walmart one. And the Yeti won by half a cube. And here's the thing, why do you need a cup that keeps your stuff icy cold for 42 hours? If your stuff is staying in your cup for 42 hours, you're not drinking enough water, right? Okay, so any other ideas on external triggers, ways that they pick at us to make us buy more stuff? Did I hit all of them? You can see I spend way too much time on the internet. Okay, what about internal? The things you say to yourself. Now, I know y'all talk to yourselves, because I do. And it's not a psychiatric condition. It's just who we are, right? It's part of our conscious. So, internal, you'll tell yourself you need it when you don't really. I want it. I just want it. Okay. You know, I remember when the iPad first came out, and I wanted one bad. I didn't know why. I didn't even know what I would use it for. I didn't know why I wanted it, but I wanted it. So I did the wait, you know, for probably 6 months or a year. And finally, somebody made me a deal that I couldn't resist, and now I can't live without it. But I deserve it. Right? I thought about this. I was shopping last weekend, and I found a cute pair of pajamas. And normally it's just old shorts and a t-shirt, right? So who cares? Nobody cares. But I wanted them, and I thought, And so then how I justified it was like, okay, I've been trying to be better with how I eat, and I've been actually successful with that a little bit. And so I'm like, so this, I deserve a reward, and this is not a food reward, so this really supports my goal. And I do wear them every night now. I bought a pair of pajamas around Christmas time just because they were cool and they were on sale. I haven't worn those at all because I didn't make a really good decision. I just said, oh. So think about some of those internal triggers. Do you want it? Do you need it? Is it going to actually serve your life? So what do you think some of your top 3 triggers are going to be with spending? What triggers you to spend?
When you go shopping with a friend,
Yep.
and I go, oh, that looks good on you, or you need this, you like this, I know you do.
Yeah. I remember when my mother was alive and we would go shopping, and you know, when you shop, you do admire things. And then I would admire something and put it back, and she would come behind me and pick it up and buy it for me and then present it to me when we got home. So we had to have a talk about that. And she goes, how do you do that? How do you admire something and not buy it? I'm like, because I don't need it. You know, and so that was interesting. Okay, so what are some ways that we can overcome those emotions? We want it, we need it, we think we deserve it. Well, there's that. I don't know. I've heard don't drink in Prime. Don't drink and go on Amazon because it can be bad. All right. Can you name some of your fears around money?
I have one, I have a big one. Both of my parents had dementia. And so if I don't get dementia, I want to continue to travel and spend our money that way. But if I do get it, I need to have a whole bunch of money put aside.
Yeah, so the fear of the future. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's a real fear. You know, I know when I was growing, I mean, this can go all the way back to, like, how did you learn about money? So I remember when I was growing up, we had, you know, Mama was a stay-at-home mom. So Daddy made all the money. And Daddy would go into the kitchen like one night a month to do the bills. And he actually only got paid once a month. I don't know how people do that anymore, but he would go in the kitchen, and we all knew that you don't go in the kitchen for anything. If you want a snack, no, don't do it. Because he would get so grumbly and mad and stomp around and snort and fuss and, you know. And so I learned that bills are scary. And then my mama spent a lot of stuff on credit cards, which is probably why he was snorting. But what I saw was we never paid money for anything. We just flipped that card out. And I didn't see the connection. You know, and it caused me trouble later on. You know, I'm not gonna lie, right? So, you know, think about what your fears are around money and then challenge them with facts. So the fact is, you've got two possible futures. Which one is it going to be? And the fact is, both of them require money.
We have control over how many trips we take and what we spend with the other.
Right.
House.
Right.
I have another example. We're planning a trip with a bunch of friends, and one couple doesn't think they can come. They've never developed a good relationship with money. They just spend,
Right.
and so they always had to work to pay the bills. And so to overcome that, they put all their retirement in an annuity so they would just get a budget. So now when they want to do something that requires extra money,
They can't get it. Right.
They can't get to it.
Right.
Only because if they could get to it, they would have spent it a long time ago,
Right.
and they wouldn't have been able to come with us anyway.
Right. Right. And I think, too, people are scared to travel together because spending styles are different, you know, and that can cause trouble on the trip. Yeah. You know, for me, the fact is bills are scary, but they don't have to send me into a downward spiral if I plan for them. You know, and kind of what I've gotten in the habit of doing is focusing on the big ones that have to, you know, you got to pay every month no matter what. And then what's left is what I can, you know, I can play with. You know, do I want to go out to eat more? Do I want to, you know, cook at home? Do I want this extra thing? Am I going to use it? So that's kind of where I go with it. What about this? Can you trade a healthy activity for a spending spree? Meet a friend for a walk instead of at the mall. You know, one of the favorite things is to meet at a coffee shop, but when you go to a coffee shop, what? You feel obligated to buy a cup of coffee because you're taking up their space. One of my new favorite things is the Publix and the landings. And I don't know if everybody knows this or not, but they have an upstairs, like a seating area. So they've got comfy couches, and they've got tables and chairs, and they've got a patio outside. And the intention is for you to go get deli stuff and come up. But there's nobody checking the elevator or the stairs to see if you're bringing a Publix thing with you. You know, so I don't feel, and I shop at Publix. So, you know, even if I bring my own coffee, I probably did buy it at Publix. You know what I mean? So I've had a few opportunities where I needed a non-food meeting, and that's what we did, because it's free, it's easy to access. If somebody wanted something, they could go get it, but you don't have to feel obligated to get it. And so what are some other places that you could go to hang out for free? The library, yeah. I don't know though, can you have a conversation there?
I don't know, it's awfully noisy when I go in the libraries, everybody's talking loud and it's like, it's society today, I guess.
Yeah, the library, the park, huh? The beach. Yeah, like how many of us go to the beach every week? One in the whole room. Like, how exciting was it to move to Sarasota because they have beaches and the best beaches in the world, and we forget about them. Yeah. All right. You know, one of the hard things is when it gets hot and people want to go to the mall to walk, and then you see stuff to buy.
Yeah.
All right. Let's do our activity snack. We've been talking about a lot of emotion and money and So we're going to walk through this little activity. And so what I want you to do is let's just take a couple of deep breaths. Okay, so let's think about, and you don't have to say them out loud, just think them to yourself. What are 5 things you can see? 5 things you can see. See.
Nature.
Mm-hmm.
Nature.
If you leave your phone on, you have to look at me dance. All right. Think about 4 things that you can touch. Just right around you in this room, what are 4 things that you can touch? Mm-hmm. What do you write on paper with? Uh-huh. Table, chair, your necklace. All right, 3 things you can hear. Speaker. Okay, 2 things that you can smell. I was thinking. And think about 1 thing you can taste. Candy, a mint, your water that you have with you. And the whole idea behind this is to get you grounded, you know, get you kind of out of your head and into your body a little bit, so that that anxiety doesn't feel so terrible. And so if you'll do something like this right before you get ready to do the things that cause you anxiety, it can help pull you back down to earth so that you're ready to face the challenge. All right, so we've talked about spending. Where do we find the money so we can spend more? Right? All right. So one of the things that is recommended, and you can use a spreadsheet. I didn't, you know, this one system that I'm studying with has a, like, I don't have permission to give it out, so I couldn't just print it and hand it out. But basically, she does a spreadsheet. But one of the things she does is she puts the date besides each entry. So telephone bill, power bill, insurance bill, car, whatever it is, you know. And the thing of it is a lot of these systems come with canned categories. And I don't know about you, but every time I've tried to budget, I just get overwhelmed with the fact that I don't need that, but I need this, but it's not listed. So can I do it? You know what I mean? Here's the thing, no rules. You know, it's your rules. What rules do you need to create to be successful with your money? So you're going to make a list of, you know, rent, utilities, car payments, insurances. What are some other things that are standard bills that you have to pay every month? Cable, lawn guy, yeah.
The bug guy.
The bug guy, yep. Yep. Yeah, so, you know, we're going to list, but we're also going to list other things too. Make a projection of what your groceries are going to be. Make a projection of what you want your discretionary spending to be. You know, there's one system that I've looked at where you go to the bank and you get cash, and you put cash in envelopes, so one envelope for each segment. And it's like, that feels enormously too much work and a little dangerous, because I'm not going to drive around town paying people in cash. Like, you don't have a trail for that. But what if you paid all your other stuff online or however you do it, but you kept your discretionary fund in cash so that you could see, you know, like, it's one thing to look at it in your bank account, but it's another thing when you can see it in your wallet, right? I've got some reliable times that I know I'm going to go out to eat every week. You know, it's like Wednesday night here, I'm always here, so I put money aside for that. There's another time that I always go out to eat, and I put money aside for that. And then I plan my week around that. And so that's one of the things you need to do, is to look at, okay, I've got this much money to spend, I'm going to go out to eat and eat at home. Tithing, we got to talk about that because we're at church, right? But that's an important part of our budget, you know, and it depends on who you are and how important that is to you, because you get to make your own rules. But I say enter this into your equation and let your heart and the Spirit guide you as to what, you know, what you want to do. And I know that there's like 10%, and there's a lot of different ways to think about it. What if you're really tight on money and you can't tithe money, but you could tithe time? You know, maybe you're in a season where you're really tight and you need to put every penny towards whatever good cause it is. Maybe that's time to volunteer a little bit. You know, there's different ways to look at that. But you definitely want to put that in your calculation, right? Because I think it's important. Okay, another place that we can find money is evaluating our subscriptions. So I have probably 150 apps on my phone. I don't use that many, but I love to try them and see what they're like and that kind of stuff. But apps, you know, a lot of times there's either a trial period and then you forget to say no. And then all of a sudden, for a year and a half, you've been paying $5 a month. Well, guess what? In a year, that's $60. That could be a nice dinner out with a friend, right? So kind of what you want to do, and again, I'm not an Android girl, so I don't know how it works on Androids, but I'm sure it's similar. Go into your settings, and right at the top is all your Apple things, and you just touch that, and there'll be a category called subscriptions. You can go in there and look and see what your subscriptions are and say, yeah, I don't want that one anymore. Cancel, cancel, cancel. There are systems, we hear about them on TV all the time, where they'll help you cancel those things. To be honest, I've never tried one because you have to link your bank account to them. And I'm not so sure about that. Oh, that's how they find the subscriptions is by looking at your bank account, what comes out every month. It's like, oh, you're paying for, you know, I don't know, Apple Music, or I pay for Pandora, but I like that one, so I'm going to keep it. We've got our big box subscriptions, so Costco, Sam's, BJ's, right? Are they working for you or are they not? You know, I maintain a Costco membership mainly because they're the best price on gas in town. It serves me well that way. And then if I want to go in and shop, I can do that too. Sam's, BJ's, same thing, same thing. A lot of times they'll say, oh, we'll give you a special price. BJ's has been running a special. You can get a year's membership for $20. They actually sometimes have gas cheaper than Costco, but guess what? They're not anywhere near where I live. Like, I live less than a mile from here. Have to go up to University Parkway and deal with all that. Just like, I'll need another tank of gas once I get home, you know. Something like Walmart Plus, it's a little bit like having a big box thing, but the difference is that has built-in free delivery or free pickup. So here's the thing, is we talked about impulse buying. What happens when you go in Walmart? You have a whole cart of impulse, and maybe not what you even went in there for. I find that the groceries are comparable, you know, kind of my story of how I got to Walmart, because I know people have feelings about Walmart. But my husband was requiring a special type of milk that was a name brand, and it costs a lot. And Publix was out of it one day. And I happened to be in Walmart. I'm like, oh, they have groceries. Let me see if they have it. And I didn't really expect Walmart to have A2 milk, but they did. And it was $1.50 cheaper. It was the same milk, and it was $1.50 cheaper. And this was before the pandemic. And I'm like, why am I not shopping at Walmart? So I started shopping a little bit, and so then I ended up getting Walmart Plus because we stream all of our TV. We get Paramount Plus free with Walmart Plus. And, you know, that would equal to about $60 a year there. So that pays for over half of the membership. But I can, you know, shop online, buy just the things I need, go there and they'll bring them out to the car, and I'm doing a commercial for Walmart. But my whole point is if you order your groceries, then you're not as inclined to buy extra stuff that you don't really need, right? And I've had really good success with them. What else is hiding in your bank statement? You know, so, you know, sometimes we'll have subscriptions that don't show up as an app. They're, you know, online. Magazines, are you still really still reading those magazines? Maybe, maybe not. Maybe. If you love it, keep it, but maybe not. You know, I challenge you to go through your bank statement and find those hidden expenses that you maybe just forgot about. Okay? All right, we've talked about out to eat spending. So, you know, one thing about going out to eat, consider what else you get out of it besides going out to eat.
No dishes.
No dishes, that's my favorite. No dishes, that's my favorite. It's concentrated, you know, if I go with my husband, it's concentrated time with my husband without the distractions of the household and the pets and all the things, the TV, although every place you go has a TV now. He can have what he wants and I can have what I want because I am not making 2 dinners. You know, and he's got some dietary needs that I have different needs, and so it's actually easier to eat out sometimes, right? Socialization, you know, going out with a friend, plan for it. But are you eating out too much due to emotional eating or spending, or do you wait till you're too hungry or too tired? So I've been guilty of that too, right? It's like, oh, we need to eat, but I can't. I just can't. Let's buy get a pizza delivered. Grubhub is great, Or if you wait until you're too hungry and you're out running errands, it's like, how easy is it to drive through someplace? And guess what? A drive-through hamburger meal is like $10 now or more. Like, I don't know. I remember back in the day when my husband and I could go out to dinner for $16, and that included a couple of beers, Yeah, that was a long time ago. Yeah.
I have a couple that I met in Tennessee, and what they would do, because they did like to go out to eat with people for the social aspect, so they would allow themselves $20 max spend for the both of them. And they may eat something prior, they would pre-eat,
Okay.
and then when they go out, they just share a dish or an appetizer, and then it's only $20, but yet they got to spend 2 hours.
Right. Right. Yeah, that's a great idea. It's like a lot of times, I think as we get older, we don't need as big of portions too. And some places still give you enough for a week's worth of groceries. Yeah, what can you share a meal, right? The other thing is the revelation that the bar bill was worse than the food bill. I remember we were on a vacation, and we were in a fancy resort, and I don't know, we tried the fancy drink, and there were, and there were like $20 a pop for the drink, and I'm like, I can buy the whole bottle for $15, so. But what trades can you make? Oh, did you have a?
I was just gonna say, I had friends in town last week and they wanted to go out to dinner.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, well, if we go out to dinner, it's gonna be like probably $45 a person. I had a large pizza in my freezer. I already had a large bottle of wine.
Mm-hmm.
I said, well, why don't you come over to my house, see my new home, and,
Yeah.
I'll feed you. So I bought another pizza for $10 and some lettuce. So it cost me $15. And it fed all three of us.
Right.
And we had a wonderful time.
Right.
So, I thought that was pretty clever.
Right, yeah. Pack a picnic and go to the beach. Yeah, there's lots of ways to do that. All right. The steps to building a solid foundation. Had to put this in here because it would not be a financial lecture if you didn't say spend less than you make, right? Like it's just required, right? But this one resource that I was studying, that's the first place to start, is spend less than you make. So I just had to say it. Don't throw rotten tomatoes at me for that one. Okay, so the next thing is thinking about paying off debt. And I think that can be a problem for all of us at times, right? Sometimes you need to use it, sometimes you can use it wisely. There's a few different methods to doing this. So I've given you one method, is what's called the snowball method. And so basically what it does is you make a list of your debts from the smallest to the largest. It should be in your handout somewhere. There it is. So here's how it works, is you make a list of your debts from the smallest to the largest, and you make the minimum payments on everything, and then whatever extra you have, you put it on that smallest debt. And so what happens is you get a really quick success because you pay it off really quickly, and it snowballs. And so you take, I'm just making numbers out of the air now, but let's say you're going to make minimum payments on everything. You're going to put an extra $100 on that smallest debt. And so now what you do is you go to the next debt on the list. And so you put what the minimum, because you're already used to spending this money, you put the minimum from the first debt plus that $100 onto the second one. And then you pay that one off really fast. And so you see how it snowballs. You know how a snowball, you roll it down the hill and it gets bigger and bigger. And so what you're putting towards you until you finally get things paid off. So that's one way to do it, right? There's another one that I read about called the avalanche method. And so in that method, it's similar to this, except what you do is you make your list according to how high the interest rate is. Yeah, how high the interest rate is. And you can find stuff about this online all the time. Consolidation loans, there's other stuff. Once you start getting into the world of consolidation loans, you really need to get with a professional on that. You know, or reverse mortgage, because we all know we trust Tom Selleck because he's the the police commissioner of New York, right? All right, where are we? All right, so the next step, so we're spending within our means, we're getting rid of our debt. Our next step is going to be to create an emergency fund. And, you know, this is kind of what you decide it needs to be. And kind of when I was thinking about this, there's earned income and there's passive income. And so I think if you're in that part of life where most of your income is passive income, you know, from, you know, your retirement fund and whatever, then that's going to reliably keep coming, hopefully, every month, right? According to your plan. And so in that case, you know, your emergency fund needs to be cash that you can get to pretty quickly to manage, you know, your refrigerator breaks down or the car breaks down or the plumbing breaks down or whatever it is. And so you have to decide what you think, you know, maybe you've got assets that you can dip into if there's like a, you know, you have to get a new air conditioner or roof or, you know, those kind of things. So I think it's a different picture with, you know, if most of your income is passive income versus most of your income is earned income. So if earned income is like you go to work, you do a job, you get a paycheck for it. And so what happens if that job goes away for some reason? That income doesn't come in anymore. And so in that case, it's really recommended that you have 3 to 6 months worth of basic income to cover yourself. For me, I always think about it needing to be more, because if you're all of a sudden not able to work, maybe you might have some medical expenses that are going to be more than what your basic expenses are. And I think that that's really a piece that they don't focus on very much, but I think we all should. You know, maybe your savings is what your deductibles are every year. Those are the kind of things that I want you to start to think about, though, right? And then the next part of an emergency fund is your evacuation prep kit. You know, we all know about a hurricane kit. I actually would submit that we need to be prepared for all sorts of emergencies, financially, but also, you know, with stuff. And so here's the thing. Think about using items that you would use anyway. Like, I don't know, I've seen people that stock their hurricane prep kit differently than what they normally eat. And then they're like, I don't want to eat this. But like what I did this last year with Milton's first time in 38 years of being here that we actually evacuated. And my husband uses a CPAP. CPAPs require distilled water. What I started doing was getting extra jugs of distilled water. You can drink that, it's not going to hurt you. So if we're in an emergency, and so that way I've always got the distilled water. I can just go in the garage and grab it for his CPAP and buy some more later. But that, you know, because the other thing is your hurricane kit, some of that stuff isn't going to last forever. You do need to use it up and start fresh every year, right? So what are some things that you can routinely use that you can cycle through your hurricane kit? So my distilled water is one idea. There's a book out there called The Storm Gourmet, and it's really kind of fun because it gives you, I think, a week's worth of recipes, all made with non-perishable foods, but they're delicious because I've tried some of the recipes. I haven't really had to use them in an emergency, but I've tried some of the recipes, and so it kind of, you know, gives a little panache to your hurricane. Yeah.
What was the name of that recipe book?
The Storm Gourmet. I would also say plan to pack comfort foods. They say it's actually a good idea to have, you know, whatever it is that's comfort food for you, some cookies, some chocolate, because it's going to be a stressful time. So you need to meet those emotions a little bit too. Consider MRE, so meals ready to eat. So this last year, I don't know, there was an ad on Facebook, and they had, buy one, get one, I don't know. It's a number of things that you just add a little water to and you can heat it up. And I don't imagine they're totally delicious, but they last 25 years, so I know I've got a backup plan if I need it. Also, I recommend making your hurricane prep and shop for it all year long because it's all non-perishable stuff, right? So that you're not having to go to the grocery store with everybody in Sarasota County when the hurricane's coming, right? So that's like part of what I do with my waters. I always have about 6 gallons of water around, and if we need another distilled water, we bring it in the house and use it for a CPAP, and I get one more. Yeah, because that's the worst, is when you have to try to do it all at once when the storm's coming, and then you make really bad decisions. But if you can get it a little bit along, get stuff when it's on BOGO at Publix, whatever it is. And of course in your hurricane kit, if you've got canned foods, you want to make sure you can get into the can. So make sure you've got a non-electric can opener. Right. All right. Saving and investing. So create a savings plan for what you want. Okay, so now that we found all this money, what are we going to do with it, right? Save it for what you want. Find ways to automatically save. So you can, you can set it up, in your online banking to every time the money hits your account, you can put $10, $20, $100, whatever it is, into that savings account for a rainy day, for a fun trip, whatever it is. And of course, always use a professional when you're investing or making large financial decisions. So a couple of other things that are in your packet for today. Rules for a no-spend month. Now, we can't go through a month without spending anything because we've got to pay our bills. We need to eat, okay? So pay your bills, get your groceries, but be mindful as you're purchasing those groceries. Don't buy a bunch of stuff that you're maybe not going to eat. So maybe we curtail our eating out, clothing and cosmetic. Like don't buy the wants, just buy the needs. And see how that goes, and see how you feel, and see if you've got extra left over at the month or not, right? This other piece, money-saving challenges to try. And these are just some ideas of ways to put that money together. So, we've talked about a no-spend month. You don't have to do it every month, but maybe you take a month here and there and do it just to minimize the stuff that you have in your house, right? The next one is, I thought this was kind of fun, the 100 envelope challenge. And what the 100 envelope challenge is you get 100 envelopes, So go to the dollar store, right? And you number them 1 through 100. And you mix them all up. And what does it say? Yeah, so you draw one every day and you add that much cash to it and put it away. And at the end of the year, it says you'll have $5,050, right? The 1% challenge, building a nest egg. So you're going to increase your retirement contribution or whatever you want to do by add to it 1% every month, right? The 52-week challenge. So you save. So like if you can, even on electronic calendars, you can pull up. So this is week, what we had 4 weeks in January, 5. This is like week 6 of 2025. I don't know for sure. I'm just. So basically what you do is week 1 you save $1, week 2 you save $2, week 3 you save $3, on and on and on. By the end of the year you'll have, $1,300. I know on the no spin thing it said, don't buy lottery tickets, and I used to tease my husband because he would always buy one every week. I'm like, can you just give me that money and then we'll have $52 at the end of the year? No, we might win. The dollar bill challenge for rainy day funds. So stash away a dollar bill, stash away every $1 bill that you come across for a year. So it's like a penny jar, but bigger. Bi-weekly challenge, save $100 every payday for a year. The pantry challenge, grocery store savings. So prepare as many meals as possible using only the food in your home. So that's a good way to declutter too, is you declutter your freezer by eating down the food that's in there. You declutter your pantry by eating down the food that's in there. The last time I went through and dug out my pantry, I'm like, oh, maybe I could donate this food. I'm like, oh no, it's too old. That's why I won't eat it. It's too old. So this is Weather Wednesday challenge, randomized funds. And so note the high temperature every Wednesday and save that amount in dollars. That could get expensive here. That could get expensive here. I would be rich if I did that. Pretend like you're up north somewhere. Pick your favorite place up north that you don't want to live anymore because you have to shovel snow. Minus 9 degrees. Oh, good. I get $9 today. Roll the dice challenge, just to shake things up. Roll the dice and save whatever number shows up. Some of these are a little silly. Some of them I think are worth trying, So just some silly ideas to help you find money to do the things that you want to do. And we're going to get done early, but that's okay. Last but not least, I've got a resources page. And so websites, the 2 websites that I used for a lot of the information for today are called, one of them is truemoneysaver.com. And she has a whole line of like online courses that you can buy and take at your own speed. And she gives you lots of downloads and stuff, so it's really good. And then another one that I just came across called Dow Janes, not Dow Jones, but Dow Janes. It's 2 women that are learning about how to manage their money and the emotional side of money. And that's the thing is we're scared of our money. We don't think we've got enough. I don't know. We tend to like do silly things sometimes with our money because we're not sure we know what we're doing and we don't trust ourselves. And so my point here today is to let's kind of take the emotion out of it and start to look at, what are the really real facts about my money. We talked about apps, so I put those app names down there for you. One of the things we didn't talk about is meal kits, Blue Apron, or I don't know, there's a dozen of them. So what a meal kit is you subscribe, and they, and you can choose how many servings you want, 1, 2, 3, 4, however many. And so every month they'll send you a box of ingredients for 3 meals. Let's say I'm getting 3 meals for 2 people. And, you know, there's ways to go online and choose your meals and whatever. But they give you the ingredients for 3 meals. And I've done this in the past. I probably will do it again in the future. Sometimes when things are on subscription like that for me, they get ahead of me somehow. But, you know, you can pick Mediterranean, fish dishes, whatever. And the nice thing about it is that you get a variety of flavors, but they send you just the spices for, like, everything's pre-measured. So they send you just the spices for that one dish. So you don't have to buy a $5 spice that you're only going to use once. And it also helps you with planning meals. What else was I going to say? You know, so it's, you know, again, that's a personal choice. There's a ton of them out there. There's one called e-meals where you find them online and then you send your grocery list to Walmart and then go pick them up. They don't have the pre-measured piece of that though. Some of the books, one of the books that I like a lot is Atomic Habits by James Clear. That's where I'm getting a lot of my stuff about. Let's simplify the goals and make them doable first, right? John Acuff is another favorite, and 2 of his books, he's got a number of books, but these 2 are really important for what we're studying. And so the first one is All It Takes Is a Goal, and the other one is called Soundtracks, also by John Acuff. So the soundtracks is really important, and I'll probably pull some of that work in as we move forward in this series. But soundtracks is about how you talk to yourself about stuff. It's like, why don't we treat ourselves like our best friend instead of our worst enemy? Like, don't we say nasty things to ourselves sometimes? And it's really amazing how if you just flip the script on how you talk to yourself, it can make a whole big difference. And then I've got a couple of podcasts listed that I listen to if you're into that kind of thing. So there's kind of something for everybody. And homework. So I want you to start trying to fill out your spending journal, whether you do an app or whether you do your little booklet that I gave you. Try to do your spending journal and try not to be judgmental about it. Try the activity snack. I've given you a handout on what we did with our activity snack. Try that to ground yourself before you have to, you know, pay your bills. See how that goes. And consider the money-saving ideas in your handout. So, thank you. Any questions? We'll see you on March 12th for Cultivating Purpose. What is your life work? And even if you're retired and you're not working a job, that doesn't mean that your life doesn't have work and meaning, right? What do you enjoy doing? How are you spending your days?
Thank you.
Thank you.